We're here in celebration of the centennial of First Baptist Church of Santa Fe, and we're speaking with Mr. Gene Gray. Gene, can you tell me about your beginning membership in 1957 with First Baptist Church?
After we joined at down Don Gasper, we became involved. In fact, they made me superintendent of Sunday school, and we had real good Sunday school classes and all, enjoyed it very much. Some years after that, not too really long, I found out that the church had purchased over 9+ acres up on Old Pecos Trail, and that they were anticipating moving the church from Don Gasper onto the property. And I can't exactly remember when, but they appointed a committee, a building committee, to proceed with the design and construction of the building, and I was appointed to that committee. And we earlier than that, the church did start a fund drive to increase the amount of money that we'd have available for the construction of our new church. We got together. We made a determination of what style was going to be of the church. It was very important. Some wanted a territorial and some wanted Pueblo. And of course, you can see that the church is Pueblo. And then we made negotiations with an architectural firm to design the building. Upon the completion of that, we let the bid for contractors. And we found out real soon that it was going to be much more money than we could afford with the money that we had available. So the church involved themselves in selling church bonds of $100,000 worth. And we were assuming we would sell the property here on Don Gasper for $60,000. And we had accumulated some money from the fund drive. When the bid came back, it was entirely more than we had money or finances for. So the committee sat down with the contractor and the architect and tried to determine things that could be eliminated to get it down to where we could afford it. And we came up with a lower price. And in that lower price, the church member agreed to do the painting in the south wing. The only part of the building that would be completed would be the main auditorium. And we sold church bonds in the amount of $100,000, and the contractor went to work. And eventually we realized that we were not going to sell the building at Don Gasper, so we issued another $100,000 worth of church bonds. So that was enough to take care of us to get the building constructed. And it was a great move. We moved to a spot high on the hill. It just overlooked Santa Fe, which was a very gracious thing.
So you were involved with the entire process from the move and construction from 1959 to 1961, is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you eventually sell the old building that was on Don Gaspar?
We eventually did, yes. A long time after this building had been completed. That was one of the reasons we had to sell extra church bonds. The building was eventually sold, and it's now a state parking lot where the church was when it was demolished.
So that was a financial consideration during the move. I mean, that was an important aspect that your organization had to deal with at that time then.
That's right.
Yeah.
We had to.
And so you've been able to obviously recover in the years since that move, and the church has been, all of that financial stuff was taken care of, I'm guessing, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it did take the purchase of the extra church bonds to cover not selling the old church building, but we did have it under control, and we were able to move forward.
Was the property in the time, in the new location, has the cost of the property been covered since that time to now?
As I recall, this property was purchased several years before, and I believe that it was already paid for, so that wasn't an object as far as worrying about financing.
What are some of the fondest memories? I mean, you had enough time at the old location. What are some of the memories that you have of the old location that you really are forward in your thinking?
Well, the memories I have, it was an old building. There was the parking lot was sufficient to take care of four cars, nothing else. And we were fortunate because the state would allow us to park on the parking lot of the state building across the street on Sundays and Wednesday nights, so we were covered there. But the building itself was not much of a convenience. It's just an old structure that had lasted its time.
What or who influenced you, or what was your decision in becoming a member of the First Baptist Church initially?
Our family moved to Santa Fe in August of 1956. We got here just in time to get our kids in school. So that gave Betty and I an opportunity to visit the second church. And so we made visits to that church, and we made visits to First Baptist, and we decided we wanted to be members of First Baptist. We appreciated the pastor very much. And we had a good song leader.
And so your wife is Betty,
Betty.
and your children were with you at the time when you joined the church
Yes.
initially?
Yes.
And how old were your children when you joined the church?
One of them was born in 1947, another one in 1949, and the third one in 1950.
Are your children still members of First Baptist Church, and do they live here in Santa Fe?
Our son, one of our sons and his wife are members here.
And they still attend the church here
Yes.
and currently? Gene, what activities have you been involved in over your membership with First Baptist Church that reached out to the community of Santa Fe?
Well, one thing that this church plus other churches in town, one summer delivered Bibles to each resident in a large area. That was one of our fine things that we did.
How did the people in the community respond to that at the time?
They accepted them.
They were grateful that you
They were
did?
grateful that we received given out Bibles.
Can you describe some of your best experiences that you've had as a member of First Baptist Church over the years?
Yes. One that was initiated after the building was completed and the concrete work was put outside. I designed the sprinkler system for the church and put in the lawn. And Betty and I watered that lawn and mowed that lawn for quite a period of time until some other church member volunteered to take over. That was one of the things we did. And then we had a youth group that on Sundays, the kids would bring their sack lunch to church, and after church they would have their sack lunch, and then we would have recreation. We had a ball field on the north end of the building, church land. We had a volleyball net, and we had horseshoes and other activities that kept the kids involved for some period of time.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Did you have a lot of participation with the kids at the time?
Very much, very much.
And they
Yes.
enjoyed it, I take it?
And I enjoyed it, and the young man that was helping me do it, Don Best, did too.
I think he was a member, wasn't he?
Yeah, Don was a member. He was with the police department, was responsible to maintaining the radios up on the mountain for the police department. And he and his wife moved to Tucumcari. But he and I were just church members.
Gene, what have some of your responsibilities in the church been over the years?
Over time, I've been a deacon, I've been a trustee, I've worked with budgets, I've been a teacher in the children department, the junior department, senior boys, and senior adults.
Which one was your favorite? And can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Sure, the senior boys. We had a good group. I remember at that time, my classroom was down under the baptistry, and but I was surprised that we had that many senior high school boys in our church, and they were well attended in Sunday school.
Gene, can you tell me a little bit about the men's prayer breakfast?
Yes, our leader at the time, now at this present time, is Bill Pearson, a terrific cook. He's down there one Saturday a month preparing breakfast for men that come in to enjoy the meal. And also we have good fellowship together, and we have a period of time for prayer. It's open to any men that's there that have an opportunity they can pray. And I believe that it's good fellowship, and it's something that welds us together in the church.
And is this open to anybody in the community, or is it for members only?
It's interesting. Occasionally we'll have someone come in that we don't recognize, I don't recognize, and has the breakfast with us. So we haven't thrown anybody out.
And then you have a work day. You have a work day, too, after the prayer breakfast offering.
Oh yes, when there's a work day, either within the church or on the property, Bill will prepare breakfast for them, and if it's going to be a long process, he'll have lunch for them to get them ready for working around the church.
Can you name those in the leadership over the years that have made the biggest impact on the church growth, fulfilling the mission purpose and all that? And there may be several people. They can be either pastors or employees of the church or church members.
We had some wonderful pastors, and I think they did serve this church well. And then we had laymen in the church that involved themselves in the various things that needed to be done. And we were all grateful for their service.
Can you describe 3 milestones in First Baptist Church during your time as a member?
Well, I like to look at when the church was on Don Gasper. It was a small group that was very concerned about reaching Santa Fe, So that would be the first milestone, and then the second milestone would be the growth from the construction of our new auditorium. And then our church building, really. And then the third one would be the activities that took place in the CLC, the Christian Life Center, that involved groups of our youth and adults in their participation.
I've heard quite a bit about the Christian Life Center and its impact that it's had on some of the younger members of the church and people of the community. And can you expand on that at all? I mean, what kind of positive things have you seen from the Christian Life Center?
Well, it had additional classrooms, and then it had a basketball court, and our church members were involved in basketball and activities like that. And I remember there were some people involved with walking because I presume health problems. They walked the CLC. And then for a period of time, we did have kind of a league, and there were other people other than church members were involved in it, and they came in and played basketball. And then the CLC is a place of enjoyment. Many social activities taking place in there. Some of them are holidays, potlucks, and then once in a while we'll have a celebration of an anniversary that we're celebrating. So it's been a very key part of First Baptist Church.
Have members of the community been invited to participate in activities at the CLC?
During the nativity scene at Christmas time, the CLC is opened up, and there'll be things in there for children. The choirs will be in there singing, and then there'll be refreshments. And it is open to the public, and I believe it's been very well attended by the city of Santa Fe.
I've heard a little bit about the live nativity scene that your church puts on every year, and it sounds like quite a production, and it's a very special event that the church holds every year. Have there been decent turnouts for that, from people in the community when you hold that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It and that's really, I think, what the nativity scene, the way our production is for the public, people of Santa Fe, and it is well attended, and I would assume that the numbers would mount into the hundreds of people coming to see that, and then also go into the CLC for refreshments and hear the Christmas music.
I'm not familiar with the live nativity scene. Where do you hold that here in Santa Fe?
It starts on the north wall of the church, and then it extends around the parking lot. There'll be animals. We've had camels, we've had horses, we've had sheep. And then there'll be youth as sheep herders are taking care of them. There'll be fires lit around to warm our hands and also to give light to the nativity scene. And then we'll have an angel up on top of the church building, and it's a very good production, and it is telling us about the birth of the Savior.
sounds like you've had, over the years, you've had quite a few really nice experiences with that. So that's something that's very important and special to this church in general, then you'd say, right?
Yes.
And you mentioned the auditorium. What events do you hold in the auditorium here, or what was the main purpose that the auditorium was constructed for here?
Oh, the purpose is that's where our preaching and singing take place. We kind of laugh about it now, but the architect had the floor sloping very, very steeply from down to the podium. And a couple of nights before the first service we were going to hold here, some of the women realized that it was so steep, women with high heels could possibly slip and fall. So over the Saturday night, the carpet people came in and put carpeting down for the aisles and had it ready for Sunday morning.
Okay, so it was, the auditorium at the time hadn't been completely finished then?
It was complete, it was finished except for carpeting, which we never thought we would be doing, but it turned out to be a necessity.
Oh, okay, interesting. In the time that you've been a member of First Baptist Church of Santa Fe, can you describe any times of struggle and what has been done to, correct it or to help rectify any struggles that you've had?
No, our struggles have been financial. And our first struggle was in the construction of the main church building, because it was necessary for us to borrow more money than we intended to. And then another problem was when the CLC was constructed. There again, we had a financial difficulty, but we had a pastor, Dr. Ehrlich, that was concerned about that. And it was always a joke when people would come in to look down at the organ, they'd see a cowboy boot up on top of the organ. And what he had told the people to do, when they would put so much special money into for the loan, he would paint it a color. And I forgot at the moment whether it was gold or silver. But it was interesting to watch the silver or the painting part of it creep up the boot. When the boot was covered, that meant the loan was paid.
Oh, that's an excellent story. So the boot was finally painted then?
It was finally painted.
In the last 100 years of the history of the church, how do you see God's purpose fulfilled in First Baptist Church of Santa Fe?
Well, we are a lighthouse on the hill, and it's available to the residents of Santa Fe. We have sent out from our group missionaries, and very fascinating, and which some we were very proud of. We've had youth leave to go into the ministry, and then, of course, we are contributing to two Southern Baptist funds, International Mission Board and the Home Mission Board. We contribute to that, which is available for missionaries either in the United States or foreign. So we are involved in that. In addition to what I've said, we do contribute to the State Baptist Foundation, who are involved in training people to assist this various churches here, various Baptist churches here in Santa Fe and around the state.
What are your hopes for where you see God leading First Baptist Church in the next 100 years?
Well, I hope that we will be the lighthouse on the hill for Santa Fe. I hope that we'll be able to reach out and touch more people here in Santa Fe. And I also hope that we will be able to contribute more funds to the Home Mission Board and to the International Mission Board to send out missionaries to reach those all over the world.
Gene, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.